It says starting.
Oh.
Ooh, there it's recording. So this is where we say, hello all there, cats and kittens. Hey there, you cats.
Hello, all you cats and
Cats
kittens.
and kittens. Yes. Yes. Hi.
Hello.
We are, the quarantine has gotten us all mixed up. Yeah. But I am Elizabeth Johnson Phillips, and I'm here with Meredith Nystrom, and we have gotten all the inappropriate talk out of the way before I pressed record.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But we are here, and we're going to talk a bit about Meredith's art, and probably about her cute kids, and maybe her adorable husband. Not her adorable husband. He's amazing.
No, he is. Yeah.
He gives me all my nuggets. I mean, he doesn't give them to me. I pay them. I pay your husband for his nuggets. See, I told you we'd still have inappropriate comments. Yep, we would. We would definitely. So just to give y'all some background, Meredith is my friend from church. I'm also friends with her older sister, and whom I do hope to have as a guest on, because I'm, apparently now, my free time doing this.
Podcaster.
Yes, because I don't have enough to do. Not at all. And her husband works for, am I allowed to say where he works?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, just, he works for Chick-fil-A and actually works at my Chick-fil-A. I don't know if you knew it was mine.
Oh, I didn't know.
I mean, I don't own it or anything, but it's the one closest to my house. Therefore, mine.
It's yours, yes.
Yes, it's the one that gets me the mobile app that, I'm now like the top tier. I'm the special limit, getting all my first stuff, getting nothing for free except for the ketchup that everyone gets.
Yeah, well, something.
But one of the things I wanted to start this, the reason why I have Meredith as my first guest is because we were texting one day and about stupid stuff, and then all of a sudden you give me this big idea, and I'm just like, wait, what? We're under quarantine. She has 2 small children. How old are your kids?
7 and 4. 7 and 4.
7 and 4. Okay, that's a bit older than I thought. But your 4-year-old is.
She's like 3 children.
A pistol.
Yeah, she vacillates between teenage girl and newborn baby. So.
And both are dramatic and needy.
Right. And so she's fearless and dangerous, and have to keep an eye on her every minute, or she really will kill herself. So yeah, great to have her home.
You just have to remember that the qualities that make for a very difficult child make for a kick butt adult. So
yep.
You just have to. That's what you're told. So you just have to hold on. You just have to be patient.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a choice, do I? So here we are.
No, it's like when people say, I just don't understand how you do everything you do. And I'm like, well, is there an option where I don't?
Yeah.
Because I'll take, for like 48 hours, I will take that.
Yes. Easy way out. Yes.
Yes, please. I'll take the easy button. Press that, press the easy button. But one thing that you have started doing, tell us a little bit about your art background.
All right. So my mom is actually a graphic designer, and she started her business 1991, I want to say, back before computers were really a thing. So lots of cut and paste, cool markers, all of this, doing everything by hand. She was an art history major in college. So I grew up around her doing all of that stuff. I always really loved art. And when it came time for me to decide about college, I didn't really want to do anything else. And so I went to VCU, School of the Arts. And so for people who don't know about that, that is an intense art program. So you don't have like the normal gen ed stuff your first year. It's just all studio art. So I did that. I was there for a semester, and then some stuff went down in Richmond. So I left, and then just I majored in art history, so that ran all the way through my chaotic college time. But, I've never made a career out of it or anything. It's just, it feels like a sacred thing to me and also I selfishly just want to make what I want to make and not have to do anything else with it. So, yep, I have been a little bit trained, I care a lot about learning about art and technique and all of that stuff in my own time. So I do that as well. And that's basically what I do. And
you also sew. I just want to point out, while I have been like sewing mess, you have been sewing.
Very important, by the way.
You have been sewing clothing. Please show us the clothing that you have sewn.
Well, I sewed this dress. So this fabric is from IKEA, and it's supposed to be like for shower curtains and pillows. But I liked it, and I got it, and I was like, I can't imagine this is anything but this giant moo-moo. So
it's a moo-moo with pockets too, though.
Yes, it has pockets. I also grew up sewing my own clothes with my mom, which was very cool as a 7th grader. And yeah, we had this like awesome beach house that was my grandparents', and we would go, and instead of like going to the beach, we went and sewed clothes inside of it, like the week before school started every year. So that was great. And my great aunt, who is now passed away, left me a ton of fabric. So I just have all this fabric. And I like to sew. I mean, I'm not great at it. I'm no seamstress at all, but I can, straight stitch and follow a pattern. So I do like to sew. I sewed 3 masks for Chris to wear to work, my husband. So I've been doing that. I sewed some things for Fleet when she was born, but I do like to sew. I like anything I can like do with my hands. I'm bad at digital artwork stuff. I can't get into it. I'm bad at it.
And your colored pencil work is also extraordinary. But the thing I want to talk to you about today is the text messages that told me that you guys need to know that the first thing I think I said was, I'm going to get you on NPR. When I said something to that effect, I'm going to get you on TV. Instead, I'm getting you to my Facebook wall, which is kind of the same thing.
Facebook wall? Yeah, I mean, it is. I feel like more people pay attention to your Facebook wall than NPR.
That's gracious to me.
No, I mean, it is. We're so, nobody wants to hear about coronavirus anymore. And what else is there to talk about? So your Facebook wall, I'm honored.
Well, I just think, I know that I think the arts are really important. And in light of coronavirus, I think one of the things that I see a lot of parents, you do have a kid old enough to having to be dealing with the distance learning, but all these parents are all have their panties in a wad about schooling. And I just think, during World War II, when parents were, hiding in the underground from the Blitzkrieg, were they worried about their kid knowing fractions or a Vincent van Gogh project for French class when the guy's Dutch anyways? Let's just not about him in French class. But this is true. This is not a random example. This is a real thing from my life. But no, they didn't. What their education was that hidden away book or the grandpa who had a violin, or a stolen deck of cards. So education was the arts and play. So I think it's really exciting to talk to another artist and find out what they're doing and how they're keeping sane and how you're continuing to be brave and bold in the midst of, because I think it's really hard to do that when you can't get out. I think it would be very easy to be like, well, I'm stuck at home with my kids. And that's okay. Like, it is hard and it is enough to just be a mom. And there are certainly days that I know that you probably are just like, okay, this is enough. I'm just going to not bathe. And you guys are going to eat nuggets that Dad brings out.
Every day. Every day.
But at some point, it's also important to feed your soul.
Right.
It's also important to remember that if we're going to wear out, let's wear out doing things we love, not just the stuff that is good and right and true. It's good to love your people well and keep the wheels on, but it's also important to feed your soul. And I think the arts do that for you, and they do that for me as well. So I'm going to go to my phone and just to let all you good, the 3 people who are going to watch this know, Meredith and I were discussing. Okay, we're not. Meredith and I were discussing Tiger King, like a lot of people. Yep. And you texted me. The text chain starts with "Thank God for Amazon." You said yes, amen, and then you said, "I have a giant and conceptual nonsense project I'm working on," and I said, "Of course you do." So, and then you started talking about your textile design and everything. So start there. Tell us about this giant nonsense conceptual project you were working on.
So I think this is born out of me having time to watch Tiger King. My kids are watching, we've already worn out all of the good educational kid shows. We're on our umpteenth viewing of Planet Earth or whatever nature show. So I am just thinking about, like, if this dude, the Tiger King, had some other kind of animal, like rats or something, or snakes, are we going to be like really into this show? Probably because
there's already the Rat King.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking about, like,
the Beaver King.
Beaver King. Man, I need to watch that again too. Okay, so anyway, just how the world is so excited about big cats and just big animals,
Alpha predators.
Save the elephants, save the rhinos, save the leopards, all this stuff, which is wonderful and great. And these animals are so cool. But I tend to love the kind of the natural minutia of the world, just the little stuff that we don't really notice. So I was thinking about ecosystems because of my Planet Earth viewing, as one does, and just so fascinated by, like, things would be terrible, yes, if the wolves and the tigers and everything got wiped out, but we would still be able to have functioning ecosystems. But if you as you get lower on the food chain in these ecosystems, if you wipe out the little guys, we don't have that. And I just want to note here that I'm not like an environmentalist or a conservationist or anything of that nature. I just think
you're not anti those efforts, but that's not your guiding.
Right. Yeah. That's not I don't fight that battle. I don't have the drive for that. But I just have always loved, insects and fungus and all these little things most people are like, get the fungus out. I don't want these mushrooms. I don't want these bees. I don't want whatever. And I just, I spend a lot of time studying the little parts of animals and, why this is important. So I was just thinking about if we could give those things the energy and kind of make it exciting for people to look at that stuff as well, which, my project is not going to do that. But for me, it's exciting to give those things the kind of the spotlight they deserve. So my idea was just to take a specific ecosystem, and my first one that I'm working on now is the tundra, which most of the year is just a dead white zone. But to take 5 months.
I just love you so much. I'm going to start working on the tundra, an ecosystem.
I know.
Like not
really like
into, and it's kind of all monotone.
Yeah. So the other thing about me is that if I could exist in a space like at a 5th grade science fair, that's like my ideal place because I love studying all that kind of stuff. So I'm a nerd about this kind of stuff. So I was thinking I'll take 5 different organisms from this food chain in the tundra, start with the stuff that I really love, these little lichens, and just blow them up, give them huge detail, seeing like every little tear, every little piece of the organism. And, that represents, first of all, that is the whole foundation of this ecosystem, but also, it's everywhere and we don't really pay attention to it. Whereas if we walk out in the tundra and we see a wolf, that's going to be like the thing we remember about it. So taking the small stuff, blowing it up, making it really detailed. And I
like to do that in my life too. Take the small stuff and blow it up.
That's right.
That's different. That's the emotional stuff.
That's making mountains out of molehills.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So then, doing like a little rodent or something and having it be, but anyway, the small things, super detailed, up to the big thing like a wolf, and making it like a nebulous print. So I wanted to originally do this with textile. So finding a way to create all of this, have it printed on a fabric, have it sent to me, and then I decide what to do with it. So very specific, bright, exciting stuff for the small, and kind of gray and abstract nebulous for the big. And then, we're in this quarantine, so that kind of stuff is hard to get going in a process. People are not out there printing fabrics in the quarantine. So I have been home with what I have and kind of just experimenting with textures and paints and canvas and stuff like that to kind of have maybe like a little prototype. And because, once you have an idea, you feel like you got to do it. You can't let it slip away, because those like little bursts of inspiration don't really come around much. So
you've got to move,
right.
hence this actual recording and podcast. And yes. Yeah. So you, instead, in sort of the opposite of becoming the Tiger King, you want to become the lichen queen or the fungus queen. I would prefer the fungus queen. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your mom is proud.
She is. She couldn't have asked for more than that. I mean, that's what she envisioned for her daughter. 33, 2 kids, queen of the fungus. A real job.
Oh, shut up. Okay. So show us what you're working on. Show us what we got here. This is going to be really fun. Once this recording gets converted to a podcast, this portion of it's going to be excellent.
Yes. You guys are going to love this.
Yeah.
No visual. So
I'm going to try to describe it. It's yellow.
This is what I'm working on. This is what I have. So all I have, I thought I had a lot more like canvases, but this tiny little one is what I have.
I can get you some. I can drop some off.
You do not have to do that, but that's very generous. Thank you. So this I was working on, and I wanted it to be textured and stuff. So I've just been painting layers of.
And what kind of paper is that? Just like.
This is like cardstock.
Okay.
So I just, paint it big, like a whole piece of paper, texture it. And then I X-Acto pieces out. And then I burn the edges so that it curls up and looks like the edge of a fungus. And then I just piece together. And the reason I've done it on this, I think it, so for people who can't see, which is everyone.
She's flipped a canvas backwards.
Yes, the canvas is backwards. So you can see it's, so a canvas is white. It's wrapped around the back, but you can still see some of the wood. Mm-hmm. And I have this wire on here that I've attached layers of it to. So the top is glued on, and subsequent pieces all the way down are on wire. I really liked how, you have this industrial looking, very non-organic piece of canvas and wire, and then you have these little lichens. It just kind of brings out their character a little more than just, painting them on something or having them, on a piece of wood. My original idea was to just get a log or something and put them on there, but then I hated that. So this is what it is.
difficult to work on. Let's just be practical here. That would be difficult to work in, and then you have a log on like your dining room table, and
I'm getting away from the real reason I wanted to do all of this, so I just nixed it, and here we are. So that's what I've been doing. It's good. I've also been trying to work on my iPad to do some digital stuff, because I know that's going to be what I need to do if I'm doing fabric. And that is a huge learning curve for me. I do not work in that space. So that is a thing that I've been doing that frustrates me a lot, but I guess I'm getting better at it little by little. And maybe when all this is over, I'll actually have something I can send off and work with. So
now, practically speaking, how do you juggle your creative pursuits with parenting? Like, how do you juggle that?
So my parenting is wake up, send the kids outside, call them in for lunch, throw them lunch, send them back out. I don't engage with them a lot. I'm lucky to have two kids. I'm lucky to have these two kids who get along really well and want to hang out with each other all the time. They're both extroverted. They know that I am not an extrovert, and that it's just painful for all of us.
Like, this is a lot of interaction for you, and we're not even in the same place.
That's
You're
right.
gonna nap after this.
I am. I have a whole drink ready for me after this. No, but it's just, that's just, that doesn't have a lot to do with my parenting. It's just, I'm lucky to have these kids who enjoy one another, who like to be outside, who don't. My one goal in parenting was just to have them be independent, and because I knew, like, I can't provide for them, even like a normal non-quarantine day. It's hard for me
to be their cruise director. You just want to be their mom.
No, you're right. And now, it would be easy for me to fall into, I'm their friend, I'm their mom, I'm their person who makes their meals, I'm in charge of their emotional well-being, I need to provide them with entertainment all the time. And I can't do that. I know myself well enough to know that would be a disaster for all parties. So luckily they really do take care of themselves. Parker learned how to use the microwave. So we're really, like, most of the way to all just being independent entities here at this house.
I know. The day my kids learned how to scramble an egg and make their own ramen, I'm like, my work here is really almost done. We're working on laundry. We're working on doing our laundry. Next week, I think we're going to work on changing our underwear every day. But baby steps. Clearly, do you see the order that I've taken it in? Feed yourself and then change your clothes.
Somehow the hardest thing. Like, why do you want to hold on to these underwear for another day? I don't know, but it's the truth.
Yeah, my homeschool has a uniform. It's pajamas.
Yes. Oh, for sure. We've worn out all the holes. We've worn out all the needs in our pajamas. We have not worn clothes. We don't normally bathe very much. We bathe even less now. No, I am very hands-off, probably the most hands-off parent you could possibly imagine. So it's just a matter of, and even if I weren't, I would still be like, you figure it out. I'm going to do this now. Which sounds terrible, but
I think it all should be noticed. If someone's watching this and hearing, it's like, you guys need to know that, like, Meredith, her children are lovely and wonderful, and she is not just like going in the backyard and drinking, cocktails.
No, I'm not.
She isn't getting, like, her children are lovely, and obviously, they have extraordinary character and are kind. And I mean, Fleet is sassy, but like spunky. She's not.
Yeah.
She's not bitchy. She's spunk. I mean, she's spunky.
Yes. So that's the other thing about, I know that this is a really tough time for a lot of kids, because when their whole order of stuff gets upended, it's a lot of anxiety and fear. And I don't know how people talk to their kids about what's going on, but mine are pretty small. So Parker thinks it's, anytime something goes wrong during our day, he'll just be like, oh, it's Corona.
Hashtag same.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think my mom raised all three of us in my family to, her only care in the world was that we not be anxious about anything ever, which meant a lot of, like, being thrown to the wolves, honestly, a lot of times. But I'm the same way. I found that to be something that made me into the person that I am, that I actually like that about myself. So my kids don't, I don't know, they don't have any fear or anxiety about, if something doesn't go right, they're not freaking out. If I'm busy and I'm not going to make them lunch, they just go do it themselves. I feel like they're very independent. They're good. They also are very understanding towards, they know who I am. They know I'm not a person who's going to never run out of energy for them. And I run out of energy very quickly with these kids. So, they do their own thing, and they also like to be around me when I'm making art or sewing. I think they like to observe me. Parker is an artist as well, my son. And so he sits and I've been working on a bird drawing unrelated to my project. And, he sat down one day and just started drawing his own thing right beside me. And yeah, so, he does his schoolwork, Zoom stuff. He knows how to do that by himself on his own thing. So luckily I don't have to manage that, but that's about all. We're not over here he reads before he goes to bed at night, but that's the only thing I require of him. We're not learning our letters or fractions or anything at all. They're just outside messing around. So,
I think one of the things you touched on about resilience and independence is part of what I am hoping this podcast, whatever this Skype session or whatever evolves into being, is I know, I'm a huge Brene Brown fan, which turned into a huge Teddy Roosevelt fan. And
yes, Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of being brave and being bold. And because I do actually have a lot of anxiety, but, I have been through a bunch of stuff in the past few years. And everyone's like, oh, how are you so strong? And I think it's because I've fallen on my face a whole bunch. And all I know how to do is get back up.
Yep.
And so there is this quote of Teddy Roosevelt that says, I'm paraphrasing. I have not memorized it. Maybe one day I will. I love the Man in the Arena speech. That's like a huge thing. It's in my kitchen. But there's this one quote he says, to live in such a way that you are at the risk of wearing out rather than rusting out. And that really spoke to me. And I think that, that's a gift to be brave and bold. And I assume if you don't fail, you're not trying. Like if you're a kid who's never had a skinned knee, then you were doing it wrong. And so I think that's a gift you're giving to your kids, that they can learn that they can get back up.
Right.
And that they can do it of their own volition, and you're not going to spoon feed it to them, that you'll be there. Yes. You'll, if they come in with that skinned knee, you'll, give them a Band-Aid and say, hey, good job. You got back up, but then you're going to push them back out.
Right.
That's good. I think that's how we're supposed to do. So
hopefully, well, we'll see. We'll see when my kids when Fleet doesn't know how to read when she's 8, we'll see.
We'll see what they talk to their therapist about,
But she can climb to the top of a tree and she knows how to break through a fence. So we'll see.
She will either run the country or a prison gang. There will be no.
Yeah, that's right. No, we're on the cusp of figuring out which one it will be, but hopefully we'll get to the good side.
Well, I wanted to thank you for chatting with me, and I'm going to stop the recording soon, and then we can continue. If you want to continue to discuss more inappropriate things, we can. But we're going to always. But thank you for joining me here, and I just think you're super talented and super interesting, and I'm still going to try to maybe get you on public television. I don't really have any connections for that to happen.
You could make one. You could go outside right now and probably make that connection in your own neighborhood. And I would end up.
There's no one outside. Everyone's under quarantine. And here's the thing. I am social distancing. I'm doing all that, but I feel like there's some shaming. If a friend came over the other day and we're standing 6 feet away in my driveway, and my friend was in fact wearing a mask, and people driving by are like, and I'm like, shit, somebody else. So I don't know
know
now if I'm social distancing just to protect my pride or to protect my viral status. Like at this point, I don't know.
I don't know. Well, Chris is obviously out in the public all day, every day. And he does a pretty good job of cleaning himself up when he gets home, but we're still not, I don't know if we're doing the best job possible, but it is getting, for me as an introvert, this is all fine. But I feel for all the people who have friends and stuff.
Yeah, I'm done. I said to my special friend, I said, I don't know if I miss you this much because I miss you, or I just miss all people in general.
Everything is just heightened. I mean, I get that. I miss my mom, I guess, but I went and saw her last week. I did. We drove down there and we wore masks and sat in her cul-de-sac, and her neighborhood is like retired, like everyone's over 70. So we had some people staring at us, but at the same time, we had people coming out and just in our face without any masks. So I don't really know what is right anymore.
It's like you see people waving and walking. I'll drive to Taco Bell or Chick-fil-A, and I'll see people walking, and they're like, and it's like they've never seen a person before. It's like, oh my gosh, it's the Pope-mobile. Nope, it's just me. It's just me. No one's been here the whole time.
I know. Well, I feel for you.
Yeah,
hopefully we can get out there soon.
Yes, hopefully, and then we'll, get to working. We need to have it because we want to have an art play date.
Right, we do. Yes. I mean, I'm still up for that. I have a mask. You have a mask. We can paint.
Yeah,
we can make it happen.
And the Fungin.
Yes.
The Fun Dungeon. That's what I call my art space. The Fun Dungeon. The fun.
I love that.
Yeah. So.
I need one of those.
Yeah. Well, everybody needs a fun dungeon. And on that note, I'm going to say thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. Bye.